I can remember a long time ago, and it's not that long ago for me because I'm older, so the PlayStation 2 wasn't this new system for me. I was, kind of older when the PlayStation 2 came out, but I remember being into video games then as I am now, and seeing Devil May Cry for the first time. And back in the day, Resident Evil had these pre-rendered backgrounds that sort of make everything look realistic, but it wasn't graphics. It was just this pre-rendered scene. It wasn't polygons. And when Devil May Cry was introduced, I remember going to the local Funko Land and talking to the people working in there, and we were all talking about how, this was real-time graphics, the PlayStation 2. It wasn't pre-rendered that Capcom used to do with Resident Evil. It was now fully 3D on the PlayStation 2. We weren't talking about resolution or the frame rate. And by the way, the frame rate in the original Devil May Cry on the PlayStation 2 wasn't great. And the resolution, I don't even know what it was, but it couldn't have been that good. It was the PlayStation 2 on a regular television. But the game, the totality of everything in the game, and what I was playing and what we were experiencing, and the idea that the graphics look so much better than the previous generation, it was just a phenomenal experience. And that is how we engaged with games back then. Even before that, that's how we engaged with games. And it seems like now, before games even come out, you've got these groups and these people talking about, what's the frame rate, or what's the frame rate between this mode and that mode, and what is the millisecond response time between the performance mode versus the ray tracing / quality mode. Is the resolution 4K? Is it upscaled? Is it downscaled? Is it FS something? I have no idea what that is, by the way. And at the end of the day, I'm thinking, shouldn't it be about the totality of the experience that you're having versus these 1, 2, or 3 things that we're picking out and saying, can't play the game now because it's not this, can't play the game now because it's not that. Let me give you an example. I'm not saying that you've got to like this game. What I am saying is, if you like action adventure, if you like that genre, if you like open world action adventure fantasy worlds, and you like gameplay like Infamous, let's say, those powers and doing those crazy things in a world, then when a game comes out that is action adventure and offers those things, that's what piques my interest. I know that I like action adventure games. I'm going to try this game. I don't say to myself, I like this genre. However, it's only 44 frames per second in the quality mode. Therefore, it's unacceptable in 2023. I've never said that about any game. I don't care if it's 60 frames per second locked or it's 30 frames per second locked. I'm interested in the game. I'm not looking at a car and saying that car looks incredible. I get in the car. Oh, it's incredible. The interior, everything is fantastic. Turn it on and it sounds amazing. Put the pedal to the floor and the car takes off and it is a joy to drive. I don't do all of that and then get out and open the hood and say, oh, you know what? It's only a 4-cylinder with a turbocharger on top. Therefore, that whole experience that I had is somehow negated. Or worse, before I even get in that beautiful car that looks amazing, that sounds incredible, open the hood and say, nope, all of that visceral experience that I had seeing that car, it's all over because it's only a 4-cylinder. Not even going to get in, not even going to drive it. You see what I'm trying to say? I'm not saying that Forspoken has to be adopted by everyone, or it's a game that you have to buy. I understand video games are expensive, and you may look for review scores or the aggregate review score of something like Metacritic as the be-all, end-all when it comes to a video game. But I think there's a subset of people like myself that are just like yearning for the days where we were given information about a game, given information about gameplay first, right? It wasn't just about what's the resolution, what's the frame rate, what are these technical aspects of this game. Tell me about the totality of everything. Tell me about the experience that you have while playing it. Take this scene here. This looks fun to me, walking into a village, opening up the wheel, a la Infamous, using these powers, fighting. I've played the demo and I've played some of the game. I'm having a really good time doing this. There are some things that are repetitive, and there were some things that are repetitive in, I keep bringing up Infamous because it feels like that game in a way. You're a superhero in a world doing these amazing things. I absolutely loved Infamous. Second Son on the PlayStation 4, absolutely loved it, and First Light I liked better than the main campaign. I'm thinking, at some point there's this old guard console gamers versus this new guard social media gamers, and there has to be some of you out there that are just scratching your head and thinking, how do we get to the point where this game is completely and totally either it's an 8 or a 9 at some sites, or it's a 6 to a 4 on other sites. There seems to be this sort of disconnect. There's so many wild variations now when it comes to reviewing a medium like video games, which should be based on the entirety of the experience and how it makes you feel, not just picking it apart and saying this aspect is not up to snuff. Therefore, all of the aspects in the game aren't up to snuff. I'm sure there are some repetitive missions that I'm going to run into. I'm sure that some of the dialogue is a bit cringy. And I'm sure that some of the graphical effects look like they're rooted in the PlayStation 4 generation. I get that. While we're asking for new things, we can't get new things and instantly critique them, because ultimately a brand new IP can lead to a sequel, which addresses all of the issues in the first, as long as you have a solid foundation. And that's what I'm looking for when it comes to new IPs, especially in genres that I like: action, adventure, fantasy, light role-playing, exploration, traversal like this, I absolutely love. And I think that they nail it. And I'm interested in just talking about games in general after I experience a lot of them. I'm not really interested in this idea that, well, performance-wise, it's not up to snuff, therefore let's forget about it. Resolution-wise, it's not up to snuff, therefore let's forget about it. Or there's some repetitive missions, or there's this, or there's that. There's so much noise around Forspoken, and there has been for such a long time. And it's always been sort of this game in this generation so far that's highlighted this disconnect between what games used to be judged on and what they're judged on now. And I get people want these really informative deep dive looks at the tech behind a game. But I'm not a developer. I've never developed a video game, and I'm sure most of you out there haven't either. You may know a few buzzwords like resolution. Back in the day, it was bump mapping on the original Xbox. Everybody was screaming about bump mapping like we all knew what the hell that was. But at the end of the day, you're just supposed to get excited about what you're seeing. You're supposed to look at this and say, this looks really cool. Look at the graphics. Wow, I love running around a world like this. The traversal looks great. I love the combat, the way it slows down. It looks interesting. I'm interested in the character. I'm interested in the world. What's the story going to be about? Wow, some of the graphics looks incredible. I can't wait to try it. Again, I'm not saying that you have to buy every game that comes out. I know they're expensive. But I feel like at some point, we should start thinking about games in a different way, the way that we used to, because it's getting so hypercritical before anything ever releases. Look at Starfield when they showed that. I mean, instantaneous takes, right? It didn't show well. Yeah, it had some slowdown. Absolutely. But I don't think at this point we can say that the game is going to have all of those issues when it releases. We have to wait. We have to see what the experience is. We can't let 5 or 6 different sites tell us what we're supposed to think, feel, do, and buy. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.